So from the experience of the Pro-Am racers, we go to the youth. In the mini supermoto, the riders now making their way out onto the formation lap. The second and final race of the day for the riders in this category. First race of the second block about to get underway. This, of course, is the second race for the Uggly Co MGP Junior Supermotos. Everyone appears to be out of the waiting zone and ready on the grid. Flag goes up, and away we go for our second race today. Oh, trouble on the start there for the 56. Try to get a jump on the field. Oh, we got trouble here on the start line. The recovery marshals quick on the scene. There's another couple of riders stalled as well. So a difficult start to the race. Harvey Brooks it is that takes the lead. Trouble on the start line. Everyone seems to be okay. And hopefully they'll be able to get those stricken riders away and out of trouble. I think that was the 56. Luke Hutchinson, I think it may have been that hit trouble on the start. A good start, but got tangled with another rider. I think he's just on the side of the track. It doesn't look like he'll be taking part in the rest of the race. Goes on nonetheless, though, with Harvey Brooks leading the way. Everyone else appears to have been clear. There is a waved yellow on the finish line. But the race still goes on. Waved yellows as we see them. There we go. Waved yellows on the finish line. Due to that trouble, there is an injured rider just on the side of the track, just over the tyre barriers, but there is a machine just on the side, so they do need to slow the bikes down until they get the course completely clear. Harvey Brooks leads from Peter Willis, Daniel Goodman, Lewis Mullen in fourth, Ty Butler, Luke Schofield in sixth position. Theo Collymore in there as well. Tricky first lap, but it seems like everyone's okay, and the racing continues to stay underway. This starts off the second block of racing today. It's the Junior SM 140 and the Mini GPs. And as I'm sure you're aware, of course, we've got the restrictions in the paddock, and a lot of people will have to stay at home, unfortunately, be watching the live broadcast. So, as you, thanks, of course, for obeying the instructions to not spectate in person here at Ellough Park, but to enjoy the footage on Alpha Live. And it's great to see that the British Mini Bikes, in association of course with Rich Energy, is able to get back up and running like every other motorsport series. The coronavirus pandemic has really thrown plans into disarray, you might say, and a lot of dates and a lot of venues have been hastily rearranged to try and get the season back on track. And I don't really remember anything affecting motorsport so much since, well, especially with the foot-and-mouth outbreak over 20 years ago. Similar sort of trouble certainly for the motorsport team, with so much of it being in rural settings. But this has been something altogether bigger, you might say, involving every aspect of society. But it's good that we're back here at Ellough Park, and we're looking at the juniors with the new race leader, the 151. Of Peter Willis, leading now by 2.8 seconds from Daniel Goodman, Lewis Mullen in third, Ty Butler and Theo Collymore currently in fifth place. Joel Gregg, who had such a good race in the first one, some close battles, currently in sixth place. Luke Schofield on the 64, currently in seventh position. James Cleary, Matthew Wood and Nathan Ellis Ward rounding out the top 10. Just saw the 28 there of Mason Greasley trying to nip down the inside of Nathan Ellis Ward, and this battle just on the edge of the top 10. Matthew Wood and James Cleary, as Peter Willis crossing the line to complete another lap. There's the 76 of Luca Wilkinson. Had a difficult first race, but recovering well, and currently in 12th position. Lewis Mullen setting his fastest lap of the race, 52.948. Good weather this afternoon. It's certainly not the most attractive weather, you might say. We've got cloud cover all afternoon. Though it's forecast to possibly brighten up as the afternoon goes on. Any threat of rain, fortunately, seems to have passed, and the track, which was very damp and slippery this morning, really has dried out. And as you can see, some very close racing out there. The lap times continuing to stay quite low. Peter Willis, fastest lap of the race, 51.627. So quite some going from the young riders. Still leading from Daniel Goodman, 4.6 seconds the gap between first and second place. Lewis Mullen in third. And as we look past the line here, we've got the number 10 of Ozian Thomas, I think back to the lap there by Joel Greig and Luke Schofield, James Cleary in 8th place, Matthew Wood and Nathan Ellis-Ward, all very close on the edge of the top 10. It's Mason Greasley in there as well as we head towards the second and third corners. Peter Willis continues to lead the way on the number 151. We had some trouble at the start of the race. Fortunately, it seems that everyone was okay. We all had some retirements from the race. At the front still Peter Willis leading from Daniel Goodman, Lewis Mullen, as we see the number 10 of Ozian Thomas in the midfield. Harry Powell going down the inside on the number 52, taking that place. 6 laps to go as they make their way towards the finish line. There we see, well, looks very much like the number 52 of Harry Powell. Ozian Thomas, number 10, in 17th place as Luca Wilkinson gets into the top 10 on the 76. So riders stationary on the track, actually, just by the pits. Should pick up who that is. Rider okay, I think it is just mechanical issues. There is a wave yellow. The leading group of riders getting past that stricken rider okay. Unfortunately, it is out of shot. We can't quite identify who it is, but certainly the rider okay. Just seems to be some sort of mechanical issue, and certainly not bothering the lead group of riders, as Peter Willis completing another lap in first place. Jack Knights goes up to 13th position on the number 6, a bit further down the field. And there we see the 21 of George Bartle now up to 14th place. Rest of the top 10 going through: John Greig, Luke Schofield, James Cleary in 8th position. Looks like it could be Harry Powell in there as well. That's the 08 of Nathan Ellis-Ward we just saw in shot there. Currently in 9th position from Luca Wilkinson. Peter Willis, meanwhile, continues to lead the way, charging into the first corner with 4 laps to go from Daniel Goodman, who sets... quite set his fastest lap there, but still running in the 53s. We've got Lewis Mullen still in 3rd place, Ty Butler and Tao Collymore 4th and 5th. There we just saw Joel Greig, Luke Schofield and James Cleary battling away for 6th position. There's the 25 of Cleary with the vest on, heading up towards the final couple of corners. Tao Collymore setting his fastest lap of the race for the 54.472. Schofield, Cleary, and just a bit further behind is the machine of Nathan Ellis-Ward, Luca Wilkinson going through. Track looking in great condition now, really has dried out well as Peter Willis goes through. Daniel Goodman still in 2nd place. And Lewis Mullen in 3rd, 11 seconds covering the top 3, so they are starting to settle down into a bit of an order at the moment. The race leader, Peter Willis, is lapping through the field quite well here. I think actually getting up to the 10th place, Luca Wilkinson, as it gets a bit tight going into the hairpin here with the rest of the top 10. There was James Cleary and Nathan Ellis-Ward in there as well. The number 3 of Joel Greig coming round here with a whole train of riders behind there. There's Luke Schofield, James Cleary. One rider running a bit wide there as well. Nathan Ellis-Ward goes through in 9th place, just ahead of Luca Wilkinson. Final rider on the lead lap, because here we see the 151 of Peter Willis leading the way, going round the first corner. Looking very neat indeed. The next rider in front is the 76. There we see Luca Wilkinson, currently in 10th place, as Peter Willis starts to close up, now lapping into the top 10. And Peter Willis looking very smooth indeed. There we see Wilkinson in 10th place on the 76. Closed on all the time by the race leader, Peter Willis. Nips down the inside, going into the dogleg. And Luca Wilkinson going a lap down. But still in contention now, of course. Luca Wilkinson will try and tag on to the back here of Peter Willis, try and look at the lines and get a bit of a toe maybe to close up on the rest of the top 10. As Peter Willis squeezes through and will take the last lap forward. So 1 lap to go for the number 151, Peter Willis, setting a 53.776 last time round. It's still the 57 of Daniel Goodman in second place, Lewis Mullen in third. But there we see Peter Willis taking a nice smooth sweep round the outside, and the second and third corners heading into the hairpin now. The back marker in front now, I think that is actually the 9th place Nathan Ellis Ward, who goes a lap down. Peter Willis now lapping well into the top 10 as he goes into the dogleg for the final time. Really has been in great form this afternoon. There's 21 just in front, and that's George Bartle, currently in 14th place, as the 151 of Pete Willis coming in towards the final corner, and Peter Willis will take the checkered flag. Great ride there for Willis as he takes the win. Bartle a lap down, finishes in 14th place. Nathan Ellis Ward 9th, Luca Wilkinson 10th, and the second place goes to number 57, Daniel Goodman. Any moment now, there he goes. Lewis Mullen will come through in third place. Ty Butler on the 97. Looks like we'll claim 4th place as Butler goes through just behind the number 10 of Ocean Thomas, who finishes in 17th place. And Tayo Collymore coming around the final corner to finish in 5th position. Noel Gregg and Luke Schofield a bit further behind. So that's the conclusion of the second race, and as was forecast, actually, it is starting to brighten up out there. It's been pretty cloudy all day, but a bit of sunny or brighter weather at least forecast for the latter races today, and it certainly seems to be following true. Any moment now, though.